So, hi everyone, happy Friday. My name is Deirdre. I'm going to start my talk today with a little story from a few years ago. It was my spring semester of my junior year. I went to American University, just a couple miles away. Go Eagles! Thank you. And it was my first semester taking any classes about conservation or the environment or climate change. And I was obsessed. I loved my classes, I loved the material, I loved my professors. I was just super nerding out that entire semester about my classes. And I had one professor in particular who was really excited about greening our campus. He was really excited about making our compost system more efficient and our recycling system more efficient. And he asked our class one day if someone would volunteer to run an event where students could come and brainstorm and talk about how we make our quaint little campus more green. And I was really into stuff, and I was like, that doesn't actually seem that exciting, but I want to impress you, so I'll volunteer. And I did, and we spent like 2 months trying to throw this event together, bring students in to talk about this, and we ended up having like no one there. It totally failed. And I felt bad, and I was like, oh, maybe I'm actually shouldn't be doing this type of work or interested in these sorts of issues. I can't even get people to an event on campus. But we chalked it up to bad luck, moved on. And over that summer, I continued getting involved in environmental work, more climate work. I was really motivated by climate change specifically. And I volunteered to be a student recruiter for the People's Climate March in New York City. And I said, yeah, I will make sure my campus and 3 other campuses in the DC area get on buses, get to New York for this big march. And I was so excited. It was going to be the largest climate march in history. Lots of periods in this meme. And it was amazing. And I felt like I was finally part of this thing that was like way bigger than me or my campus. And I was also really nervous because the last time I had tried to get people to something, I had utterly failed. And so we only had a few weeks between the start of the school year and the march. But I remember the morning we put our bus ticket pages up on Facebook, up online, and I was like, oh, we'll see sales trickle in. This will be painful. Some of us had put money down on the bus deposit, and we sold out 2 buses in like an afternoon. Every campus I was working with had similar experiences, and we ended up selling out 10 buses to the People's Climate March. We had 500 students from DC get on buses and head up to New York. And being in New York was an incredible and amazing experience. I hope some of you were there. And we all came back to campus fired up, ready to go, and excited to take on even more work in this movement. But when I got back to campus, I was excited. It was something I'll never forget. But I was also really confused because here I had an event on my campus. All I was asking people to do was to go to a classroom for an hour for extra credit with snacks. Clearly I'm over it. And no one came. And a few months later, I said, give me money, wake up at 6 a.m., get on a bus, go to New York, give up your weekend, and do something you've never done before. And we ended up having people who couldn't even get a bus seat. So I talked to my professor about it, and I was like, it was just really bothering me because I knew I wanted to keep doing this work, but I was like, I have to figure this out. I can't keep being an organizer. And we talked for a long time. Professors are chatty. And we ended up just figuring out, at the end of the day, we needed to go big. And that my role, I think the role of a lot of us in this type of work, leaders in this work, our role is to give people big things to do. Give them big asks and a big vision, and just go big. Because going big matches the scale of the crisis we face. Saying, I'm going to join the largest climate march in history, feels like it matches one of the largest crises our generation faces. And it also, making big asks of people, matches young people, especially young people's ambition and hunger and drive to make change in the world. So like I said, my name is Deirdre. I work at 350, and we are a group that is building a global climate movement. That's our tagline, and our mission is to inspire and train and mobilize people all over the world to take on climate-focused campaigns or projects or join mobilizations or actions about climate change in their community. And this is our website, very clear what we're trying to do. And we're truly a global movement. I have colleagues all over the world. We have people on our list in our volunteer and activist network all over the world. And they're doing all sorts of things. Some of my coworkers in Southeast Asia are trying to shut down really dangerous coal plants that contribute to climate change and also threaten the livelihood of local communities living around those coal plants. I have coworkers in the Pacific Islands who are working to tell stories to the entire world about what it means to be on the front lines of the climate crisis and feel a lot of those impacts first. I have colleagues in Western Europe and Europe in general who are working to get some of the biggest institutions in the world, like the Louvre and big foundations, to stop investing their money in fossil fuels. So our work looks different everywhere. I think if anyone in the room is an organizer, you know that every city, every town, every college campus has a different style and way they do this work. Oh no, internet. But I'm going to focus a little bit just on the US and my work. It can feel really general, and the US organizer, I do a lot of types of things, but most of my work is focused on bringing more and more people, again, into climate-focused campaigns and actions and projects, and mostly young people and students. We have a huge student base, so we work a lot mostly with millennials. We're not quite in Generation Z yet, but a little bit. And I was reflecting on this panel and what I've seen in my work that's worked to get 500 students on a bus or get 2,500 people out to a rally. And I came down to two big things that I wanted to share with you all. And the first is the thing I said earlier, make a big ask. We find not only is it right to make a big ask, like I said, climate change is a huge problem. We need to give people big things to do. So it feels right, but it also just works better for us. We get more people to click on emails. We get more people to join a call or show up to a rally if we give them a big demand. So we say, join the largest climate march in history. Be part of a global climate movement. Stop one of the most dangerous oil pipelines in the world. That works, and we feel like that's our role. We don't have as much success when we say things like, remember to turn off your light bulb, or remember to recycle your soda can. We like to go big. The other big takeaway I have, one more, we trust people. When I signed up to be a student recruiter for the People's Climate March, no one hired me or really asked me that many questions. They just said, we want to have the biggest march about climate change ever, and we need a lot of people's help to make that happen. And for me, as just a student on a college campus, pretty unconnected from anyone who was actually planning the march, that was really empowering. I could see, I have a role to play in this movement. There's something I can do and offer to this huge, amazing, beautiful, big thing. And this is something we do all the time. We work a lot digitally, and we connect with people who we have their email, but we might not know them. They don't know anyone on our staff. We did this in the fossil fuel divestment movement when we told students at hundreds of college campuses that they should run their own campaigns to get their university or college to stop investing in the fossil fuel industry. And thousands of students joined the movement. It spread to hundreds of campuses, and hundreds of leaders stepped up and said, yes, I'll run this on my campus. I'll take ownership and take a piece of this big pie that is fighting climate change. We do this in DC all the time. I don't know how many of you live here, but we have marches and rallies in this city every other day. This was the night before a big rally against the Dakota Access Pipeline. It was planned in a few hours. We thought it was going to be pretty big. I really needed volunteers. We sent an email, and like 40 young people showed up in 24 hours and said, yep, I'll volunteer, I'll be there, I can leave work early, tell me what you need. And it worked, and they did. I didn't really know many people in this room, but I had to say, yeah, we're trying to do a big thing, and I'm going to trust you and give you ownership and power and a role in this march we're trying to have tomorrow. So those are the two biggest things I've learned just working with young people and trying to bring people into this movement for the long haul. And those things that I've learned are also the things that give me optimism and hope about fighting this big, scary, sad problem. And I see again and again, we're working on a march next week, and it's happening on my phone right now. Forgot to put it on silent. But we see that when we give people a big, bold vision, a big, bold ask, and we tell them that we need them to take a chunk of it, and we trust them to do that, that big things can happen. So that's it.